What's something that often flies under the radar but can have a massive impact on the global economy? Tariffs. These seemingly simple taxes on imports and exports can send shockwaves through the financial world, affecting everything from the price of goods to international relations. People often don't realize the far-reaching consequences of tariffs. They can disrupt supply chains, increase costs for businesses and consumers, and even lead to trade wars between countries. Today, we're diving into the latest tariff news that has the world buzzing. Let's dive into the latest developments that have everyone talking. On March 4th, 2025, President Trump made a bold move that has left global markets in turmoil. On that day, President Trump announced the imposition of 25% tariffs on most imports from Canada and Mexico. This decision was part of a broader strategy to address what he described as unfair trade practices and to protect American jobs. President Trump imposed 25% tariffs on a wide range of goods, from agricultural products to manufactured items. The aim was to pressure these countries into renegotiating trade deals that the administration believed were unfavorable to the United States. The tariffs specifically targeted imports from Canada and Mexico, two of the United States' largest trading partners. This move was expected to have significant repercussions for businesses and consumers on both sides of the border. In addition to the 25% tariffs on general imports, an additional 10% tariff was imposed on Canadian energy exports. This was a significant blow to Canada's energy sector, which relies heavily on exports to the United States. The 10% tariff on Canadian energy exports was seen as a direct attack on one of Canada's most vital industries. The Canadian government was quick to respond, promising retaliatory measures. Meanwhile, tariffs on Chinese goods were doubled from 10% to 20%. This escalation in the trade war with China was expected to have far-reaching consequences for global supply chains and consumer prices. Canada wasted no time in retaliating. The Canadian government imposed 25% tariffs on over $20 billion worth of U.S. imports. This move was aimed at pressuring the U.S. to reconsider its tariff strategy. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stated that these tariffs were necessary to protect Canadian interests and would remain in place until the US changed its course. The message was clear: Canada would not back down without a fight. The 25% tariffs on US imports affected a wide range of products, from agricultural goods to manufactured items. Canadian consumers and businesses were bracing for higher prices and potential shortages. Prime Minister Trudeau emphasized that these measures were a direct response to the US tariffs and were designed to protect Canadian jobs and industries. The trade war was heating up and there was no end in sight. Trudeau's statements were echoed by other Canadian officials who warned that the tariffs could have long-term consequences for the US-Canada relationship. The stakes were high and both sides were digging in their heels. Diplomatic efforts to resolve the dispute were ongoing, but there was little sign of progress. Both sides were preparing for a prolonged standoff with significant economic implications. China also responded to the US tariffs by targeting American agricultural imports, with new tariffs of 10 to 15% set to begin next week. This was a significant blow to American farmers, who were already struggling with low commodity prices. The new Chinese tariffs were expected to have a major impact on US agricultural exports, which are a key part of the American economy. Farmers were bracing for tough times ahead. Mexico's President Sheinbaum hinted at a response, as Mexico had already ramped up security measures at the border. The situation was tense, and the potential for further escalation was high. Mexico's increased border security measures were seen as a way to pressure the US into reconsidering its tariff strategy. The stakes were high and the potential for further escalation was real. The global markets reacted negatively to the news of the tariffs. The uncertainty and potential for a prolonged trade war sent shockwaves through financial markets around the world. The S&P 500 dropped 1.8%, reflecting investor concerns about the potential impact of the tariffs on the US economy. The uncertainty was palpable and traders were on edge. The Nasdaq fell 2.6%, as tech companies, many of which rely on global supply chains, were hit hard by the news. The potential for disruptions in the tech sector was a major concern for investors. The Dow decreased by 1.5%, as investors weighed the potential impact of the tariffs on major US companies. The uncertainty was causing significant volatility in the markets. Asian markets weren't spared either. The news of the tariffs sent shockwaves through financial markets in Japan, China, and other Asian countries. Japan's Nikkei index was down over 2% as investors reacted to the potential impact of the tariffs on Japanese exports. The uncertainty was causing significant volatility in the markets. Hong Kong's Hang Seng index fell 1.5%, as investors weighed the potential impact of the tariffs on the global economy. The uncertainty was causing significant volatility in the markets. President Trump stated that these tariffs aim to combat fentanyl trafficking, curb illegal immigration, and address trade imbalances. He emphasized that these measures were necessary to protect American interests. The tariffs were part of a broader strategy to address a range of issues, from drug trafficking to illegal immigration. The administration believed that these measures were necessary to protect American interests. The tariffs were also aimed at addressing trade imbalances which the administration believed were harming the U.S. economy. The goal was to create a more level playing field for American businesses. President Trump emphasized that there was no room left for negotiation with Canada and Mexico. The administration was committed to its strategy and believed that these measures were necessary to protect American interests. The economic implications of these tariffs are significant. Companies like Ford and Walmart have already warned about potential price hikes which could cost the average family over $1,000 a year. The tariffs were expected to have a major impact on the U.S. economy with potential price hikes and supply chain disruptions. The uncertainty was causing significant volatility in the markets. The economic implications are significant. Companies like Ford and Walmart have already warned about potential price hikes, which could cost the average family over $1,000 a year. Companies like Ford and Walmart have already warned about potential price hikes, which could cost the average family over $1,000 a year. The tariffs were expected to have a major impact on the U.S. economy, with potential price hikes and supply chain disruptions. The potential for price hikes was a major concern for consumers, who were already facing rising costs for many goods and services. The tariffs were expected to exacerbate these issues, leading to higher prices and potential shortages. Families were bracing for higher prices and potential shortages, as the tariffs were expected to have a major impact on the cost of goods and services. The uncertainty was causing significant volatility in the markets. The potential for price hikes was a major concern for consumers who were already facing rising costs for many goods and services. The tariffs were expected to exacerbate these issues, leading to higher prices and potential shortages. Economists predict supply chain disruptions and inflationary impacts. The tariffs were expected to have a major impact on the U.S. economy, with potential price hikes and supply chain disruptions. The potential for supply chain disruptions and inflationary impacts was a major concern for economists, who were already warning about the potential for higher prices and potential shortages. Stay tuned as we continue to monitor the fallout from these major trade moves. The situation is evolving rapidly and the potential for further escalation is high. We'll keep you updated on the latest developments. The global markets are in turmoil and the potential for further escalation is high. We'll keep you updated on the latest developments as they unfold. Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story.